Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all doing okay, and welcome back to day 2 of my Red Sea Max e170 tank build. Hopefully you enjoyed yesterday's video and you have liked and subscribed to my channel if you thought it was okay. Now, today's video we are going to have a quick chat about the different bits and pieces that I've actually bought for the tank that didn't come included with the Red Sea Max. The equipment really now should all be in place, ready to get the tank up and running. So today's video is mainly just me showing you some boxes basically. But the reason that I'm only showing you the boxes is because all the equipment is now in the tank. You can see, following on from yesterday's video, that the door is now on. And the tank is a really good tank. It's well built, it's a sturdy, good quality tank. And I will be doing a video on that tomorrow. And once I've done that video, I'll try and put the link to that video in the description for this video. Okay. So basically, spent a lot of money, as I said yesterday. The tank itself, for those who aren't aware, the tank itself is £1,149, and that includes the Red Sea LED 90 up top there. I don't know how that compares if you were to buy, for instance, I think, is it the Red Sea Max, the Red Sea 170 or whatever they call it, which has got the sump down in the cabinet. I don't think that comes with a light, but I don't know what you'd be paying for an AI Hydra or, any of the new GR4 Radians, whatever you're looking at. I think the light itself is good enough to run some SPS off it. I'm obviously not going to start with SPS. I will probably get maybe a couple of torches in, once maybe a little bit of softies in there to get started once the tank's up and running properly. And when we have when the tank's cycled, when it's matured a little bit over the next few months, I'll probably start trying to add some basic SPS at that point in time, and we'll soon see whether the light is okay. I think it's okay, but we will soon find out. So that's obviously the biggest piece of equipment that comes with the tank already. You've got it also comes with a skimmer with a detachable cup. That sits in the rear sump, as I mentioned yesterday. Further to that, in the rear sump, you've also got a rack for your filtration media, which I thought was really, really clever, because it's just like, I'll show you it at some point, but you pull it out and it's got little shelves for three sets of filtration media if you are running 3 bits and pieces. And then it also comes with the return pump from the rear sump back into the main display tank. So they're the main bits. I will review, as I say, the Red Sea Max later on today, and I will hopefully get that video on for you tomorrow. So on to everything else. So we've got quite a few bits and pieces to run through. I will start with the stuff that doesn't go in the tank, okay? So we will start with, if you are setting up a tank, basically, it's probably not quite the bare minimum that you need, but I certainly, what I've done this time with my tank, instead of what I would have done previously on my old tanks, is I have tried to buy everything that I thought I needed, which was going to be, 1, of decent quality, so I don't need to replace it in the short term, but 2, it was going to be, everything was there when I got the tank wet, which hopefully will be later on today. So we will soon see. I'm sure there's something I've forgotten, but there's always going to be that, isn't there, I think. So we'll start with this. So if you are new to reef keeping, this is probably going to be one of your best friends. You will use a refractometer to check the salinity of your water. So the salinity of the water is the parts per thousand, generally, of the salt to the RO water that you put into the tank. So I'm going to try and run it round about 33, 34 parts per thousand, I think. But we'll just wait and see. Once we get it up and running, obviously I'll give you a bit more information about that. But all you basically do is, you can see here, you will drop your water onto this end of your refractometer, and you look through it, and it will give you a reading to say how many parts per thousand you're operating at. Dead simple, but it's one of the most key, bits that you need for your tank. Now, obviously, number 2 is you've got your test kits. So you can't really run a successful tank without your marine care test kits. Now, there's so many different varieties of these test kits. There's obviously varying qualities. I tried with the stuff that I could get from Red Sea. Given that I've got the Red Sea tank, I just thought it made sense to get Red Sea products where possible. Somebody might say, actually, there is a better quality test kit out there. If you can, if you think there is one, please let me know, because obviously we're always open to new advice. So this marine care test kit comes with everything you need to sort of test from day one, really. You've got your nitrates, your nitrites, you've got your salinity, you've got your pH, your KH, and your NO3 and your NO2. So you've got ammonium nitrate, nitrite, and then you've got your pH, which is the alkalinity of the water, and then you've got your KH as well. Okay, so we'll maybe have a look at that a little bit further down the line. Now, with regards to filtration media, the Red Sea tank actually comes with some reef spec carbon in a little black bag, and you just drop it into, as I say, that little rack that comes with it. So I'm going to run that on and off. I'm going to run it for the first couple of weeks, maybe take it out after the first couple of weeks, and then maybe put it back in again if it needs to at a later date. So I'm going to run Saporax, which is going to be my filter. I'm going to hopefully get some bacteria growing in these. I can't remember the brand, but I did see some other stuff on the internet that people were looking at. But I actually liked this a little bit more from a scientific perspective. With having the holes in it, the surface area is obviously a lot greater than the stuff that doesn't have the holes in it. So hopefully that should encourage the bacterial growth. I might just get the tank cycling a little bit quicker. I haven't got it out, but I've also got some Rophos, so to remove my phosphates straight away. So I am going to run that from day one and just try and keep the phosphates nice and low, ready for when we start stocking the tank. So that's really the stuff that's people will or won't use, that sort of stuff. The test kits, obviously you need them. Some people do, some people don't use any filtration media. I always have done in some form. And I just think it just gives you that little bit of extra peace of mind that you've got the tank running in the right way. Somebody will definitely comment on this and say, I don't run it and my tank's fine. Fair enough. Some people don't run tanks with a skimmer. So moving on, we have got next most important thing probably is your heater. Now the heater, so I've had a couple of issues with heaters in the past. Obviously, one really good way of keeping the tank heated is to have two heaters in the tank. A backup heater, which is set at a slightly lower temperature than what you set your normal heater at, just in case, and if it drops below that temperature, then you know that your primary heater's goosed. But I remember on a tank a few years ago, I bought one of the standard glass, still looked the same, but it was glass rather than being titanium. And I was doing a bit of maintenance, and the whole thing just shattered in the back of the tank, and I was like, what? I was a bit panicky because I didn't know whether there was any sort of metal in there or something that could have caused damage to the corals, the fish, whatever it might have been. So I actually, obviously, since I've been out of reef keeping, this to me, which is a titanium heater from D&D, seems to be quite a new product. It could have been out for a couple of years. I did see it in my local fish shop yesterday when I went in, but I just thought this made sense. It was about 60 quid from memory. Maybe not, no, might have been about 45 quid. I can't remember. I will get a proper price for all this stuff when we do a breakdown of what it's cost me. But I just thought that was a better product. It looks better, it's better built, definitely better built. And it runs alongside this, which is the D&D dual heating and cooling controller. So I bought this because I felt it just gave me an extra level of protection that I didn't have with a manual product. It comes with 2 sockets, so 2 plugs. So I presume the second plug is for your cooling control. I might run a cooler on the tank. I'm not sure at this point in time. The tank's actually in a little bit of direct sunlight in the morning, which obviously is not ideal because that does aid algae growth. But what we'll probably do is just leave the one side of these curtains drawn until, I suppose it just depends what time of year it is really. But the tank, this will just give me that extra peace of mind that when I'm at work, hopefully this should stop the tank overheating because it's got an electronic setting on it. So let's see how that goes. I'll do a bit of a review of that at some point in time. Next on the list, just something relatively basic and something I would definitely recommend is some sort of scraper for the tank. I went with the Tunzi Care Magnet. I'd looked at it a few times when I had my old tank, and I was a bit of a cheapskate. Didn't really want to spend 27 quid on a scraper at the time. Already had one that was all right, but the reason I went with this was because it's actually a plastic scraper. So if I just show you here, that there is the leading edge that's going to scrape the algae off the glass, and that is a plastic scraper. So it's not going to scratch the glass. I've had a few products over the years where unfortunately you do get bits stuck in the blades and they do scratch, and obviously that's the last thing you really want. It doesn't make any difference once the tank's actually full generally. You can't see small scratches, and I'm going to get scratches in there. It's naturally going to happen, I would think. But we just got to, I just wanted something like that because I thought it was going to be the best thing to stop anything happening in that respect. Now, a couple of bits that are actually in the tank. So in terms of a power head, for now, I've gone with the Tunzi Turbel Nano Stream 6040. It's a 4,500 litre per hour pump. Obviously, I probably won't run it quite that high. I might run it around about 2,500 litres an hour, about 15 times the turnover, the volume of the tank. It comes with a little controller. So it was quite expensive, this. It was about £105. It was expensive, obviously, in comparison to the cheap stuff that you can get for 20, 30 quid. I've had J-Cod stuff in the past, which I actually think has always been okay. But one thing I did see on the internet a little while back with the J-Cod stuff was that over time, the pump itself slows down. So it might start off at 4,500 litres per hour, but they drop to about 3,000 litres. So if you are running one on the tank, you might find that it's not turning over the water quite as much as you expected. And I didn't see any of that with this. So I just thought, let's stick with it. Let's see what happens. And at some point in time, I probably will upgrade to a Vortec. I only need an MP10 in there, but I've had Vortex before and I've always thought they were really good. I'm not sure of how loud this Turbel Nano Stream is, but we'll soon see, obviously, once we get the tank wet today. I've also bought an auto top-up. So this is not necessarily one of the most important things to buy, but for everybody, but for me, it's one of the most important things because it takes a lot of the maintenance away from the tank, in my opinion. I'm going to put a little 20 litre tank in the bottom cupboard down here, and it will run the osmolator. So basically, this is an auto top-up unit. You put a little pump in what will be my tank, and this unit here measures when the water height drops. So obviously the little float in there drops down, and I've tested it. You can hear the little click for when it drops past a certain point. It clicks. It knocks the pump on down in the cabinet, and the cabinet pumps fresh RO water out. Now, obviously, the reason behind that is because what it will do is it will stop the tank's salinity levels raising above that between 33 and 35 parts per thousand that you're aiming for. And I imagine that the house that we live in is a new build. It's quite a warm house, so it will probably evaporate quite a bit. So what I'm thinking possibly of doing is I might go to the local glass specialist, window specialist, and ask them to cut me a piece of glass that's big enough to go over the top of the tank. And once we've done that, hopefully that will stop a little bit of the evaporation. It's not going to stop it all, obviously, but it'll stop some of it. And then we hopefully will just lose a little bit less water because of that. So we obviously not going to lose as much during winter, but it does get warm in the summer. So we will see how that goes. Finally, last couple of bits. So one of the things I did with my last tank was I started running an RODI system, and I thought it was a good idea. So what I do now, which is obviously what a lot of reef keepers do, is they will buy their salt and they will use an RO system to generate the RO water. So you can't just use tap water, as you probably already know if you've done your research. It turns tap water into what we call reverse osmosis water, and then we will add the salt to that and mix it, generally in a bucket, but obviously because I've got nothing in the tank, I'm just going to mix it in the tank to start with. I thought that was the easiest thing to do. So this is the one that I've gone with. It is the V2 Pure 50. Now, I live up in the northwest. I live in Southport on the coast, and our water pressure is not great. I had to fiddle with the little unit, the little outflow thing to get the pressure to improve. I was really panicky to start with because I had it on for about 4 hours and there was probably 50 mil of water in there, and it was awful. I thought this is going to cost a fortune because the wastewater was pumping water out like no tomorrow. I managed to turn it round. I got the pressure up to about 30 bars, 30 psi, and it should be running about 50, which is the optimal pressure for this unit. But it generated quite a lot of water. It took me about 2 days to run enough water for. Sorry, that was the cat deciding to get in the cupboard then. It's generated enough water to fill the tank in about 2 days. So if I'm doing a 10% water change every week, probably get that done during working hours. So I can probably stick it on in the morning, come home and have enough water every week to fill the tank up with. I do think these are worth investing in. This was £100 to start with. It came with everything pretty much that you needed, and one of the things I really like with it, you'll see here, it says it includes a self-piercing water connector. So I'm running this outside on my outside tap, and I thought that was a really good idea because I've pierced the pipe, and all I need to do is I can leave the RO unit connected up all the time because it's in shade, so it's not going to attract any algae growth, hopefully, and I can just knock it on when I need it. It basically becomes a secondary tap that runs off your outside water tap, so it's great that. I think it's a 3-stage. It's a 3-stage unit, and it comes with everything you need. It comes with the pipe work. It comes with, as I say, that self tapping kit. The only thing it doesn't come with, if you're going to put it directly onto the tap itself, it doesn't come with one of them. But I got one of them for £4 off the internet, so not expensive at all. But that's about £60. I'm estimating that to fill the tank up, it's probably cost me about £5 worth of of tap water when I get my bills from my water meter. And I've bought the salt, I bought Red Sea Coral Pro Salt. It's going to be around about, it's about 65, there's two of it. There's one for £60 and one for £65. I bought the £65 one because it came with some Coral Nutrition Plus. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be running this to start with, but I will be once the tank's up and running fully. And I just thought it was nice to save a little bit of money on that. I am an accountant and I will save money wherever I can, after all. So that's great stuff. The salt is good quality salt. So I'm thinking that probably it does 660 litres, that salt tub. I think that will probably cost around about, say, 120, 150 quid, something like that, to fill the tank up for 660 litres. If I was to buy 25 litres of salted RO water, you're looking about £6. So you're looking, it's probably, I've got my figures wrong in that. We'll work it out and we'll give you some proper figures on that one. The only other thing that I've got, I've got two more things to show you. I've gone with live sand. I've gone with Red Sea live reef base. It's the pink, the reef pink variety. So we will get that in the tank later on today once the salinity levels are all settled and are all correct. I've gone with probably one of the most important things, which is the DIY tank cover. It's a Red Sea DIY tank cover. It's cost me 35 quid, and it's just I've got, as you can see, I've got cats coming out of our ears. We've got another two upstairs, and I'm a bit worried that when I go to work one day, they might try and see the fish and jump in the tank. So I've got this. I don't know whether it's going to stop them getting in, to be quite honest with you, but hopefully it will stop them getting stuck in it, if nothing else. So we'll have a go at doing that today. I've seen a couple of reviews of this on the internet, and I believe it takes a little bit of time to put together. So it's a good job it's a bank holiday, is all I will say. Got some extra time to do that. So that's pretty much everything I've got. I've also, the only other thing that I have bought is a starter kit for the tank, which is Reef Mature. Again, Red Sea Reef Mature kit. It's a 21-day cycle, which I'm quite happy with. What I'm hoping is that we're on the 8th of May today. I'm hoping that in 3 weeks' time, that'll be the 29th of May, payday will soon be arriving upon us. And I'm hoping that that will then mean that the tank will have cycled, all the levels will be perfect, and I can then start filling it with some livestock. So I'll maybe just touch upon, I might do a video of that with how we add this to the tank for anybody who would be interested. But that's everything that I've got. So if you have got any questions or anything that you can pose to me that you think is a good idea, please get in touch with me. Leave a comment in the comments. If you like this video, I hope you did. I know it's probably quite a long one. They're not all going to be this long, but I felt it needed it today with just the equipment that we've bought for the tank. Please like and subscribe to my page, and I will see you again tomorrow, hopefully, for another video. Have a good day. Speak to you soon. Bye.